In some big-time news for WWE, it looks like Drew McIntyre has re-signed an extension to stay with the company. This according to a new social media post from the one, the only, the final boss himself, The Rock, congratulating Drew on the extension. We're going to tell you everything we know about this situation, what it means for other free agents like Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins who have still yet to sign extensions to stay with WWE, and so much more. We're also going to be talking about big news in the AEW world, as it looks like former world champion Maxwell Jacob Friedman, MJF, might be out for longer than we first expected, as he has some setbacks in his return table. We're going to talk about all this, much more coming up in this video. Before I get started, though, be sure to smash that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. I'm Omer Q for Real Take Wrestling. Let's get right into it. So, Drew McIntyre was one of the first dominoes that people would think would fall in the free agency carousel that was going to happen, or we thought was going to happen at one point. However, it looks like he is staying put. The Rock confirmed on Instagram, I should say. The Rock confirmed on Instagram today that Drew McIntyre will be staying with WWE in a post. Here's what The Rock said. "Man of my word, as you're a man of yours, congratulations, Drew McIntyre, on signing your new WWE deal. As we talked about after your WrestleMania match, I know this Scottish Claymore represents everything that you, your family, and your country embody. As you know, I wanted to personally hand deliver this gift to you at your meeting with Nick Khan, but I had warm cheat meals and a chilled tequila waiting for me. Congrats again, brother, and cheers to hunger, passion, climbing that mountain, and always entertaining our fans. Signed, the final boss." So, Rock, who is, of course, a member of the board of TKO, a lot of influence when it comes to WWE, especially. He was heavily involved in the main event of WrestleMania and the Bloodline story leading up to that coronation of Cody Rhodes. But we know that this is, a big deal, not only for The Rock, who's announcing it, but more so for Drew McIntyre. I mean, there was a point just a few months ago where it seemed like Drew McIntyre was going to leave WWE. There was a point where we were hearing rumblings that Drew McIntyre was virtually gone and that his options were wide open. And like many things, a lot of that seemed to change right around the time the Vince McMahon, Janelle Grant lawsuit broke. And when that story broke, we immediately saw TKO distance themselves severely from Vince McMahon and go out of their way to claim and put the rubber stamp on a new era of WWE. And I think all of that and everything that we've seen over the past few months, especially with the character development that we cannot ignore, the character development of Drew McIntyre is probably one of the biggest reasons that he's staying at this point. Obviously, I'm sure Drew McIntyre got paid a boatload of money to stay with WWE. There is no way that was not what happened. But if you look at what Drew was doing just 6 months ago, the trajectory that he was on was that of an upper mid-carder, but someone who had virtually nothing going on. And in a weird way, it seems like CM Punk returning to WWE was the best thing that could have happened to Drew, because it allowed him, and the freedom that this new era of WWE allowed him to break through in a way that not many in WWE have done and succeeded, and had that translate into success on screen. Because a lot of the things that Drew was saying about Punk, a lot of the hullabaloo, hoopla, and hootenanny that he was creating online, a lot of that was separate from WWE TV. A lot of that was his own TikTok. A lot of that was on his Twitter page. So it was interesting to not only see that translated onto TV as effectively as it was, but translate into a major moment when Drew McIntyre, look, He lost the Money in the Bank because of Damian Priest cashing in. But the fact that Drew went to WrestleMania, defeated Seth Rollins, and won the World Heavyweight Championship, and largely because of the way that this feud elevated him, it's a big deal. And I think that one thing to watch out for as we enter the negotiating period, we've already entered negotiating period for others, but the major thing to look out for with people like Seth, Becky, and others who have yet to re-sign with WWE, who many people expect. I would be shocked, honestly, if Becky or Seth did not re-sign with WWE. Is it possible they don't? Sure. I think anything's possible, especially when you have a company like AEW that is willing to spend the money and invest in talent in a way that WWE, let's be honest, quite frankly, can't. WWE is a company where you're expected to be there multiple days out of the week. AEW, you're going to be making comparable money, and you're only going to be working 1 or 2 days a week. That is preferable, you would think, to many talent and could be factored into the decision. Of course, we don't know that. Becky herself has said that she believes that she is going to stay with WWE, and she would be shocked if this past WrestleMania was her last WrestleMania. As of right now, she is the Women's World Champion, so I could not see a situation where she leaves immediately, but we know her contract is up over the next few weeks. Same, I believe a similar story with Seth, although we don't exactly know the timetable of that. We do know it is up at some point in 2024. But the major thing, of course, as I mentioned before, or the major reason I should say, is that people won't leave, I think, or we will see less people leaving, is because of this new era. And it's been reported by outlets like Fightful, and Dave Meltzer's also discussed this ad nauseum about how like this new culture is a lot more welcoming to talent. This new culture is a lot more talent friendly than the previous one. And this new culture is one that talent want to be a part of. They want to be a part of making these big moments, making these bigger WrestleMania moments, having great matches, and putting on a show for the fans. And also making a boatload of money while they do it. And all of that is available. And it truly does feel like it is a new era in WWE. So we'll see what happens. But Drew, as I said before, first big domino in this big free agency period that we expected to see in pro wrestling, that honestly might just go with everyone kind of staying put where they are. But I guess we'll see. Let me know what you guys think, though, about Drew re-signing. Let me know what you think about other free agents who have their contract up, and be sure to smash that like button, subscribe, and all that jazz as we move on to our next big story. And it is a major one because it involves a former AEW World Champion. So Maxwell Jacob Friedman, MJF, has not been seen on AEW TV ever since he lost the world title at AEW World's End to Samoa Joe. We have since then crowned a new world champion, in Swerve Strickland. And MJF was expected by many people to be returning at some point pretty soon. It had been 4 months since he's been off TV. We knew that he wasn't going to go under the knife to get surgery on that torn shoulder labrum. However, in some new information that we're getting from Wrestle Purists and Solomonster also talked about this, it looks like MJF has suffered a major setback in his return to the ring. Here was Wrestle Purists. Here's what they said on X. Sources close to the situation have confirmed to Wrestle Purists that MJF has undergone surgery on his left shoulder. MJF was originally aiming for a March return and met with Tony Khan in Boston to discuss creative plans. The injury to MJF and Adam Cole have dramatically affected creative plans for MJF versus the Undisputed Kingdom feud. Max was looking to wrap the program up. There is no timetable for his return. So obviously that is a major story because not having MJF on your TV if you're AEW is akin to not having, or WWE in the mid-2000s, not having John Cena, is akin to WWE in the 1990s, not having Shawn Michaels, is akin to WWE in the 1980s, or late 1980s, I should say, not having a star like Randy Savage or Hulk Hogan. You are missing in my view, your biggest star, your best talent. And no matter what size your company is, not having a talent like MJF is going to be a detriment to your TV show, to your company, etc. When this guy left and when he had to go leave to rehab this injury, he had done something that was at one point unimaginable. And I know that the devil storyline was divisive and people liked it, people didn't like it. The fact, though, that in 2023, we saw MJF being as ruthless and as absolutely devilish, pardon the pun, as he was to begin the year. And then by August, he was the biggest babyface in the entire company. It is an absolute credit to the man Maxwell Jacob Friedman. It is an absolute credit to his ability to not only get over, but do it in a different way that we hadn't seen before, and what many didn't expect. No one expected MJF to get over in the way that he did this year as a major babyface and do it in such a sympathetic way. He was entertaining. His promos were great. Anyone who wants to say MJF can't wrestle, everyone forgets that this man is one of the best wrestlers in the world every 3 months, and then every big match he reminds everyone, they're like, oh my God, wow, he's an amazing wrestler. But obviously, I mean, for MJF fans, for AEW, the company, this is a major blow. And if you look at AEW, he's not the only major star that's out. You have Kenny Omega who's out. You have Britt Baker who's out. You have Jamie Hayter who's out. You have Hangman Adam Page. All 4 of those people, former world champions. And when you don't have those people on TV, it's going to, again, hurt the company. But, it speaks to the need for AEW to continue to rely on their depth. And they're trying to do that. And I think they're doing a great job of that. You crown a new world champion. You have, of course, Toni Storm and Thunder Rosa having a great match. Deonna Purrazzo joining the fray. But at the same time, we have been waiting, it seems like, to get AEW. What's AEW's peak? What's their new peak? Well, when are they going to get to how everything used to be? I think right now, they or it seemed as if over the next few months they were going to get back on that track, because you look at 2021 when AEW was at their genuine peak. It was because they had all these major stars, all these hot feuds, all these acts who had continuous storylines running that were already going, and then adding in new guys to sprinkle in some fun. But none of them were injured. And the injuries, and this is part of the game, this is part of life, this is part of professional wrestling, injuries are going to happen. But when you have injuries that are sustained to people like Kenny Omega, when you have Hangman Adam Page, obviously that's a whole different reason that he's taking time away. But when you have Jamie Hayter, Britt Baker not on your TV show along with MJF, it's going to hurt. And no amount of trying to and honestly, these are such big stars that you can try to replace them, but at the end of the day, you need them. AEW needs MJF. Having Will Ospreay, having Toni Storm is great. And those are also, in my view, irreplaceable talent because they do something different. But MJF brings AEW to another level in a different way than Kenny Omega does, in a different way that Will Ospreay does, in a different way that other talent do. But when MJF is on TV, it is not like you just need to be, it is must see when this man is on TV. And that's an element that I think among more casual, quote unquote, wrestling fans, AEW has been missing a little bit. I'm not too big into talking about the need for AEW to continuously cater to casual wrestling fans too much. However, you need to do it a bit. But MJF, for me, and the business side of it kind of bears this out. If you look at ratings and the other things, MJF is kind of that bit of a crossover star that, casual wrestling fans care about more. So again, hopefully, and this is the most important thing, right? Like, hopefully Max gets back on track. Hopefully he heals up, right? I mean, that's obviously a big thing. Like, we know when he is back, he's going to be doing spectacular stuff. And hopefully we do see the big match between himself and Adam Cole. Maybe if he's back in time for Wembley, which again, that might be too soon at this point, considering he just went under the knife for his shoulder. But if they are able to make that happen, that would be cool. But man, it just sucks not seeing like someone who turned into one of my favorite wrestlers. Like, MJF is one of my favorite wrestlers. Like, I would say, like, behind Bryan is probably MJF at this point. It sucks not to see him on TV. Hopefully he comes back soon. Get well soon, Max. And guys, let me know what you guys think about this in the comments section below. Also, be sure to smash that like button, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. And until next time, keep it real.